Hi, this is Kim from Dorothy's Daughter. Welcome to 20 Days of Christmas Sewing. So today I'm going to show you another idea and maybe talk about another one of what you can do with photos on fabric. So first let's get to some trivia. What was the highest grossing Christmas movie of all time? All right, I will give you my answer at the end. So today I'm going to show you a little bit about making some photo ornaments. I kind of thought this up. This one's not perfect, as you'll see at the end, but I kind of know what we could have done better. This is the first, I didn't like make this first, I just made one because I thought of it in my head. So, but it's not bad. This is Dorothy, and the loop got crooked, so but her halo was always a little crooked anyway, so I don't know. I love it still, even though it's messed up. You'll see in the video, I should have sewn the piping to this front and it would have been nice like this is. You can see the hand stitches here, which isn't good. But the idea is great, and you can make them to your heart's content. You'll probably perfect it and they'll look 100 times better than this. And then what I wanted to also tell you about is I found this really cool pattern. So anyway, I was looking and I saw some baby blocks that you could sew. There was a pattern for that on one of the sites, and I'll link it below. But I thought, what a cool idea to make some baby blocks, and especially if this is a baby that lives out of town away from family, you could put grandma and grandpa and aunties and cousins on these baby blocks and teach baby who they are. So I don't have any babies that I'm expecting at all in our family right now, so I really don't have anybody to do that with. And all my family, my kids are all in town, so there's not really a need to do that. But anyway, I thought that would be a cool idea as well. So I'm going to cut right to showing you how to do this Christmas ornament. And keep in mind, I just thought it up, and you know, it's a prototype. Let's just say that. It's not perfect, but none of us are perfect. So you know, the Amish women used to leave something imperfect on their quilts on purpose because only God is perfect, and I kind of like that because that's very true. So there's at least one mistake on everything I do, for sure, and I don't even have to try. Anyway, I will be back at the end, and enjoy. Okay, so what I'm going to show you how to make these ornaments. All right, now I wanted to show you how well this printed on this fabric, and this fabric feels like any other quilting cotton. At this point, I did go ahead after it dried. I did give it another press just so that it would be nice and easy to work with. It also will further set the color. Okay. Now this is backlit, so it's obviously going to be brighter, but you can see I did not lose any detail. This was a vintage picture, so it did have a faded quality to it, but I did not lose any detail whatsoever in transferring that photo. Would show up a lot better with color photographs, but you could see that in the quilt that I showed you, I think. Okay, so what you're going to need for these ornaments is some kind of a marking device, some kind of thing that you can use to trace a circle the size you want it to be. I'm going to use this ribbon spool because I think it's going to be just about right. Some polyfill, some ribbon for hanging, and some backing fabric. Or if you didn't want to use the backing fabric, you could use 2 photographs on either side. Okay, I'm going to use I'm going to use fabric on this one just because I rushed this photo through the process, and I don't want to do that to the others that I'm making. So I'm going to use the fabric. But my original thought was to put my mom on one side and my dad on the other. but I'm just going to go ahead and I think I'll hang this in here because Dorothy was the beginning of all of this. So my mom, and then she can watch over me. Okay, I got to stop because I'm going to cry. She was a pretty amazing lady. And so yeah, she might hang in here year round. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trace, kind of line that up where I want it to be. Make sure that I've cleared, you know, so that the center is where I need it to be. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and just trace that circle. This is heat erasable pen. Okay, so it won't matter. I should have used an empty spool. Lord knows I have enough of those. All right. So there I have my circle traced. And I'm going to also do one on this fabric. I'm going to do it on the wrong side. You see it went over a little bit here, but I'm going to use 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So that's really okay. So whatever size your circle is that you use, it will be 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So it'll be like 1/2 inch less wide. I think I need a new pen. This black pen's wearing out on me. It's been well used. That where it's too light there. All right. So now I'm going to take my scissors and just cut these circles out. You could use a rotary cutter. If you have something sturdy enough to make your circle and you're confident, you could just, you know, use a rotary cutter to do all of this. You wouldn't even have to draw the line, just use a rotary cutter to cut your circle. They do make circle attachments for rotary cutters too, which might be kind of cool. There's lots of things you could do with these. You could make, you could just find a picture like word art about Christmas even, and you know, or your favorite Bible verse, or a character. You could make a Frozen one for your littles. You could put a favorite football player on there for your teenager. Lots and lots of things you could do. I'm planning on making one for my brother's family, and maybe for a couple friends whose people I have pictures of. Maybe I'll make a Kansas City Chiefs one for my son. Or an Ohio State one for me. Or Mickey Mouse. I'm very predictable in my likes and dislikes. All right, so basically you can use whatever trim you want, but I think piping is going to work the best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to baste that on here on the back side around the circle with my piping foot, and then it'll be ready to sew to this. So I'm going to go do that, and I will be right back. All right, so using my piping foot, I applied that to the circle, okay? Now I'm going to take the picture and center it on there. And I'm going to take the ribbon that I want to hang it with. And see, I want to put the joint on the bottom. And I want to go ahead and make a loop to hang the ornament with. Probably want to get a pin here. Could use a clip or a pin. Make a loop big enough to hang from a branch. And just go ahead and pin that in place. And go ahead and center the photograph, making sure that the edges where the piping is lines up with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can use clips or pins and just pin everything in place to hold it temporarily. I'm actually going to move this pin with the ribbon to the outside so that it can get rid of it easily. Okay, now I'm going to take this back over to the machine and I'm going to sew around, but I'm going to leave an opening where I can turn it right side out. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, so I have sewn the circle together. I'm going to go ahead and trim the loop there. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this right side out through the opening. And the piping should pull right out. All right. I'm going to put some polyfill in there. And you can use your pen or anything, a stick, anything to push it in there deeper. You don't want to overstuff it, but you want it to, be nice and puffy. So it stands out on the tree, looks like a ornament and not just a piece of fabric. Even it out a little bit. Some more in there. A little more. So then you're just going to take and sew this opening closed by hand. You're going to have to turn that and sew it to the piping like so. And then you'll have a beautiful ornament. Now this got whopper jaw, the ribbon did on me. I ran out of thread in the middle and ended up, everything was unpinned, and so it didn't stay where I put it. So don't do that. Do as I say, not as I do. Anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and sew that closed by hand. No other real good way to do that. Make sure it's stuffed up to that point so that it stays circular. All right, and then once I sew that closed, you have a beautiful little ornament to hang on the tree. Right, so you saw how I think it could be made better the next time. Sew the piping to the front part so that the stitches are hidden like they are here. Instead, you see them here, and that was not smart. If anybody does a lot of stuffed things, if you want to put tips for how to make those, actually, if that loop was in the right place, that would look pretty good, I think. But like I said, the loop got crooked. I ran out of thread and it was all pinned, and then by the time I went around, realized I didn't have any top thread, I put it back in the wrong place because I really couldn't see at that point. So anyway, not perfect. But anyway, that's a great idea. So are the blocks. Share with me the projects that you put photos on. And I just want to add, if you are making a garment of any kind with the photos, which is totally possible because they're washable. First of all, what you would want to do is when you wash that out that first time, do it with a gentle cleanser and then heat set it again. And then before you make it, go ahead and throw it in the washer and dryer, or however you're going to wash it. I would recommend probably hand washing anything that you did that to. And then make sure that it holds up really well for you before you put all the effort into sewing. Just thought I'd throw that out there. I think it would be really neat on a bag too. You could make a bag with someone's kids' pictures on them, or and sky's the limit really. So all I've ever done are quilts, and I guess I attempted an ornament. So there's a lot of things you can do. All right. Well, Christmas trivia. We asked, what was the highest grossing movie of all time? And the answer was, I'm going to give a fake drum roll. Home Alone. That was the highest grossing Christmas movie of all time. And anyway, don't you want to know what Kevin's dad did for a living to have a house like that in Chicago and take all the family to Paris? I sure want to know what he did for a living, because I know I couldn't afford that. Anyway, have a wonderful evening and Merry Christmas. Happy sewing.